That's weird. Hang on, I'm setting up the comment. So for some reason it told me your hello before it said you're joined. That was a little strange. How are you guys' weekend going? I had both a productive start and a slow start. Like, I've been up since about like 6:30 because Jack woke up early. So I feel like I've done a lot and a little because it's only 11. There's so much more time left in the day. But considering I woke up at 6:30, I feel like I haven't done enough yet. I don't know. Do either of you guys have trouble with something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, about feeling guilty for not doing enough? I feel like I have a lot of trouble with that, which is like completely ridiculous because I'm doing like as much capacity as I possibly can, but I feel still like guilty. I just have a lot of guilt. I'm trying to like work through that. So let me know if you guys have any trouble with that. Yeah, okay, so, oh wait, I forgot to pin my comment. Pin comment, okay. Yeah, it's really hard, and it paralyzes me from moving forward. Oh, that's tough. Yeah, me too, my boyfriend has the opposite. Oh, that's hilarious. No, it definitely, I feel like it doesn't paralyze me from moving forward, but it does give me, that's funny. But no, it doesn't paralyze me, but it makes me work too hard where I don't have like enough. Hi, Carly. I was thinking about you because I'm supposed to be reading all day today with your readathon, and I haven't. Hi, Erin. We're talking about guilt and feeling like you're not doing enough, which I'm not reading enough today at all. But yeah, so the problem that I have is always feeling like, notice that I'm not reading either. Oh, that's hilarious. That I feel like I'm not, what's it called? I'm like, my thoughts are a little bit, hi, Kate. My thoughts are a little bit jumbled at the moment. I don't feel like I've eaten enough or something. That's what I was trying to say. I feel like I don't take care of myself enough because I'm trying so hard to do too many things. And this past week, I've kind of let myself sleep in a little more, tried to give myself a little bit more breaks. But then I'm also, that makes me feel guilty again because I'm trying to launch my Writerly templates by June 25th, and I have big concerns that they won't be ready by then. So now I'm kind of like, it's some things that I'm struggling with. I'm trying to work on that. I don't know if you guys can tell from this lighting, but hi, Joe. But my hair is a little redder. I got a color depositing conditioner. So it's going to take a while for the color to build up since my hair's pretty dark, but this is after using it 3 times because I've like obsessively used it every day this weekend because I'm like, make my hair red. Carly, absolutely, I've been there too. You have to take care of yourself and you can't do things that you need and want. Yeah, it's so hard to not feel guilty. I can't. Thank you for stopping by, Josiah. I was watching your walk and talk yesterday. It was fun. Thank you, Carly. Yeah, I really want it to be a lot brighter, but that's going to take some time because I'm trying to do it without killing my hair. But yeah, guilt is something that I really struggle with. And I was telling this to my manager at work the other day. I was like, I just feel guilty. And she's like, Rebecca, just stop. Like, don't be dumb. Like, you don't have anything to be guilty for. And it's crazy because other people see you in a completely different light that you see yourself. And I was thinking about that in terms of, oh, thank you, Kate. Are you still doing the no shampoo thing? Yes, I'm still not using shampoo. Yes, thank you, Joe. But yeah, I only use shampoo maybe 2 or 3 times a month. The rest of the time I only use conditioner. And I feel like that does help the quality of my hair. The only thing is that my hair doesn't have as much body, but I have thin hair, so it's not like I can really expect a lot of it. What was I talking about? This is like my problem. I have ADD. Oh, body weight. Hi. are you doing, Jackie? I was actually just talking about weight and self-confidence for a second. I mean, well, I was talking about like feeling guilty in author journeys, but now I'm talking about weight because I'm just like very random that way. But I'm almost exactly the weight I was when I first got pregnant with Jack. And for like, I'm very short. I'm 5'2". Oh, thank you. My hair would be greasy. Yeah, Kate, it takes a while for your hair to adjust to being no poo. So everybody's hair is greasier at first. Stop distracting me. Okay, for like 2 minutes, I'm not going to read the comments, and then I'll catch up on the comments. That's the only way I can function without going on a million tangents, which I've already done. So when I'm 5'2", so I'm fairly petite, and when I first got pregnant, I was 118 pounds, and that was like probably higher than I usually was. For most of my life, I've been 105 and 110. And I remember when I was 118 pounds, which is so stupid that I would think this, but when I was 118 pounds, I was looking in the mirror and I was like, ugh, I look fat. I look pudgy, which is so freaking ridiculous. Like, I'm just like, looking back on it, I'm like, you're really dumb. But anyway, throughout my pregnancy, I got to, I think like 135, 137, or maybe it was 140. I don't remember. I gained around 30-ish pounds. 25 to 30. I can't remember exactly. I should have written all these things down when I was pregnant. But I finally now, like 2 years later, I'm now 120. And looking at the pictures of when I was 118 and then looking at myself now at 120, I'm like, I'm pudgy, I'm fat. And I'm like, Rebecca, you're being so stupid. Like, you thought you were fat when you were 118. You're like basically the same weight now. But then when I look at pictures of myself when I was 118, I'm like, I look thinner there. I don't know what the hell. It's like a weird perception of yourself. And was me thinking back on me feeling guilty, because whenever I tell people I feel guilty that I'm not doing enough, they all tell me that I'm being really dumb for thinking that, because I work harder than most people they know. And so then it just goes back to that internal perception that you're kind of, you judge yourself so much harsher than you judge other people. And the way that other people perceive you is so much more positive than you perceive yourself. So when I look at what other people are doing and I'm like, oh man, they're kicking ass, they're doing so much, I should like be as cool as they are. And then they're having the same thoughts that I am. They're definitely thinking the same things about how, they're not doing enough or they could be doing more. It's crazy knowing the perception of yourself versus the perception of others. And then like thinking about like the possibilities of things like, like body dysmorphia, where literally your perception is completely different than reality. Thinking about that in terms of goals, like that, thinking like if there's a goal dysmorphia or something, like, or just a work dysmorphia, I don't know what they would call it, but thinking about that in terms of tasks and like lifestyles, I was like, wow, like, is that something I could be thinking about? Okay, so let me catch up on these comments. Thank you, Kate, for thinking my hair is silky. It's not always. I do feel like since I've done a lot of conditioning, like I just had conditioner in my hair for like an hour and a half, it probably looks silky than it actually is. But the ends are getting a little bit rougher, which makes me nervous because I don't want to cut my hair. I want to grow my hair to be like to like here. And I've never done that before, so I hope I can get there. Carly, everyone has guilt and we all struggle with something. You just have to notice when you're feeling guilty and choose to let it go. That is very true. I'm really trying to let go of those limiting beliefs, because I know that like the outside me knows that I'm being ridiculous, but the inside me has trouble letting it go. So it's something that I'm trying to work on. I'm trying to journal more of my feelings, but the problem is I can't get past the outside me. Like the outside me is writing, like the conscious and subconscious. Like my conscious me is saying, oh, you're doing great, your success is inevitable, everything that you're doing is amazing, and blah, blah. And my conscious me is very nice to myself. But then even as I'm writing them, my inside me is like poking out like vines. and is saying it's not enough. So like I'm trying to merge, like I've talked to you guys a few times, I'm trying to merge those two things and trying to merge my inside and my outside, and also like the perceptions that I give to others, because like everyone's like, someone told me the other day, I want to be a mom like you, and I'm like, a mom like me also has this. It's just I hide it. Like, look at that. So yeah, someone told me that at work the other day, and they're like, you're killing it. And I'm like, I'm also exhausted. So I'm trying to balance those two things. Okay, let me move on to the next comment. It's so easy to play the comparison game. I did the same thing with my post-pregnancy weight. You don't feel healthy because you're so busy. Feeling healthy is more important than weight. Completely true. That's something that I'm trying to work on more. I'm trying to like limit a little bit more of my carbs, which is something that I have trouble with because I love sugar. So I'm trying to limit that a little bit more. And I do feel like I'm getting to a healthier point. I'm being more aware of what I'm consuming, but it's definitely going to take me a journey because I have a lot of bad habits. Being postpartum is so different. Yes, Kate. Weight is just a number. I got down to my pregnancy weight after I had my first, but my body just looked different with displaced fat. Yeah, that's very true, Kate. Because like your body just knows new things now. Your body learned on your journey too. Like my hips are a lot wider. They're just like, oh, hey, I'm ready for the next one. And I'm just like, calm down. Your body changes so much. Everything is just proportioned differently after a baby. Which you're killing it, by the way, Kate. Like seeing you going to run club and you just had a baby, I'm like, holy shit, that's amazing. Yes, goal dysmorphia. Oh my God. Rocio, in rational emotive behavior therapy, we would say you are shoulding yourself and masturbating. Tell me more about that. I don't understand. What do you mean, Rocio? Okay, I'm also 5'2", and I gained 30 pounds with my first and 45 with my second. Now I'm mentally struggling with becoming a new me. Yeah, to be healthier rather than old pre-pregnancy pound me. Yeah, no, that's something that's really hard. Also, just the identity crisis. Like, Kate, now that you have two babies instead of one, like you were saying in your post the other day, it's a completely different feel. It's a completely different dynamic. And that takes a while to get used to. And I'm a little, like, nervous about when I get to that and when we have our second baby. Because I know that the first 3 months after Jack, I was like a complete wreck. I was having an identity crisis. And I was like, who am I? Who is he? What's my new role? Oh my God. And it took me a while to figure out how to be me and how to also be a mom and how to blend those two together. Carly, it's a process. Yeah. Getting in touch with yourself and being honest with yourself is hard. Oh, thank you, Kate. You're so sweet. I think you look amazing too, Kate. Yeah, no, totally. Like being a new mom is such a struggle no matter how many times you do it, because you have to change everything that you know. And that's something that like kind of I'm trying so hard because I'm identifying limiting beliefs in others faster than I'm identifying them in myself. And I'm trying so hard to work on being a better version of myself. Like I watch a lot of YouTube videos, bringing it back to like author for a second, from other authors. And sometimes I'll catch them saying something that I know is not true. And I'll literally pause the video and I'll explain out loud why what they're saying is not true, in terms of like the author journey and how, different variations of success and what it means, like not what it means, but basically the possibilities. And I feel like in general, the publishing journey can be very negative sometimes. Especially because, a lot of authors don't make a ton of money in publishing because there's just a lot that goes into it that people don't realize. They think once you get a book deal, oh man, you're set. You can quit your job. You can do this and buy a house and you're famous and, things like that. And it's definitely harder to get to that point, but when people say it won't happen or you'll never make a career out of writing, I immediately like shut down their opinion in my head, and I'm like, no, that's completely not true. There are people that prove that wrong every day. It's just not everyone's willing to get to the, like, to do what they need to do to get to that point. But it's very possible. So I'm having, like, I'm seeing on those side of things, like believing in my success. I'm very good at believing in my success. That's a strength that I have. But I've only started just this past year doing the actions needed to get to that success. So that's why this year has been so transformative in how I feel and like my author platform and like getting people basically on board, kind of. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like this year has been really big for me in that, and I know it's just going to keep getting better. But now that I've got that down as like my goal and career path, I need to address those things internally and with my emotions and my self-worth, because even though I believe my success is inevitable, I don't have that confidence in me as a person. I have that confidence in my abilities or talents, which is a weird disconnect. Okay, so now let me catch up again. Rocio, Albert Ellis was a funny guy, but he came up with REBT to address people's irrational thoughts, which are distressing to others, to otherwise awesome people. I don't know what that is. I feel like he was a frustrated comedian who became a psychologist. That sounds interesting. Let me write that down to look it up. Albert Ellis, REBT. I'm going to look that up. Carly, the adjustment from 1 to 2 is definitely tough. It's all learning curve. You never really arrive. It looks different, but you reach a point where you're like, okay, I can do this. That is so true. Kate, yes, it is so hard to identify as Rebecca and not Jack's mom. Yes. I can tell you being a mom of 2 in a month is easier than I thought it would be. I'm older than you, and seeing where you are at a young age with your motivation and determination with your husband, with health concerns, a happy son, a full-time job, writing a book, amazing. It's inspirational. See, that's what I have trouble with, Kate, because I understand how other people perceive me, but I have trouble gripping how I perceive myself. So seeing those things make me feel really inspired and happy, and I'm glad that people see my potential, but I'm trying to merge that with myself as well. And it's very confusing to explain because I feel like I'm a very confident person, but I'm just not there yet. So it's a journey, and I'm definitely proud of my journey so far and really excited to see where it goes. Remember to give yourself grace. Oh, thank you, Carly. There's no arriving. I agree. We're always needing to reassess where we are mentally and emotionally. You are your own worst critic. Yes. And use the principles as a school social worker. Oh, with my frustrating manager. Oh, that's a great. Oh, I'm glad that you're able to apply it in your life too. That's really cool. I'm definitely going to look that up. And it's really funny that you mentioned that, Carly, because I just watched a video for Manifestation Babe that said you have to celebrate each success before you go on. Like every time you accomplish a goal, you need to celebrate that right away, and make sure that you treat it with as much respect as it took to get there, or otherwise you won't be happy with the next step. So that's something I'm going to try to work on. I'm going to try to celebrate more, and just, get there. You want people to see, and you know where you are really. Yeah. But also, I think I don't know where I am really. I don't know. There's something weird going on in my brain. I need to work on it. But what are you guys working on? How was your weekend? What are you doing? Actually, I didn't check what time it was that I started. It's 11:18 right now, so do you guys know when I signed on? Because I forgot to write that down, so I have no idea how much time I have left. How are you guys doing? What are your goals for June? I'm really excited and also scared that it's June because holy hell, the first 6 months are done. Isn't that weird? I can't believe it. So I'm intending for the next 6 months to be super epic. some like shit's gonna go down. And look, I love my mug. Super overachiever. Oh yeah. Yeah, I definitely am an overachiever. But I also think I've understood this year a little bit more, because I've always had big goals, like since I was like 7. I was like, when I was like 7, I was like, I'm gonna own an art gallery, you know. But taking it, like, I feel like this year I finally understood what it takes to get the successes that I want, and to achieve what I want. I feel like I had a lot of inaction over the years. Like, I was kind of just like, I would do like one thing and then ride on that coattails for a while, but now I feel like I'm taking the more steps that I need to take. Oh, that's awesome, Carly. June is to finish my 4th draft revision on my novel and be ready for beta readers. That is so cool. I am on chapter 6. I'm going to finish chapter 6 right after we're done talking. And then of draft, I keep calling it draft 3.5 because I started draft 3, I got up to chapter 12, and then I went back to chapter 1 and started again. So I'm getting there. I want to also finish this draft this month, and I'm already sending it, like, as I go, I'm sending it to my critique partners so that then I can get feedback to do draft 4 right away. So I'm hoping I can do that. Yes, definitely. I'm pulling it in the right direction. Kate, June is a big month for me too. We are moving at the end of the month. Oh, wow. So a whole new chapter in store for us, Arizona to Virginia. Oh, that's so cool. Congratulations. That's awesome, Kate. Yeah, you definitely, moving is so challenging and then rewarding. And then you get that immediate, like, once it hits July and you're in your new place, you're going to have that, like, fun new drive where it's like, here I am, you know, like, just, it's kind of like a new year. When you move, it's like January 1st. Carly, awesome. Yeah, critique partners, like, having a critique partner this year, I have 2, and, I guess 3. Chris is kind of a critique partner, kind of also a beta reader, because he doesn't get as nitty gritty as my 2 other writing friends, but he does understand, since he's always been creative and has always done like screenplays and stuff in his spare time, then he understands the character's journey, so he does give me very actionable feedback as well, but he doesn't get as like too much into the weeds as my critique partners do. So he's kind of a combination between the 2. So all 3 people are reading it. You live in Florida. Have you lived there your whole life? Yes, Kate, I have lived in Florida my whole life. I've actually only lived in Miami. Like, I've lived close to Hialeah, and I've lived in Miami, and then I've lived in Kendall, South Miami. Like, I've been in that kind of South Florida range. I've actually never moved outside of there. Yeah, I would be open to moving a little bit more up the state, but unless my parents came with me, I don't think I would leave the state. But we'll see where the future holds. What was I saying? Oh, that critique partners definitely has completely changed my writing this past year, like leaps and bounds. When I look at my first draft, it was December last year, I finished the 2nd draft. I believe I finished Ember Dragon Daughter draft 1 August of last year. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Carly, definitely brainstorming with people that know the story the best is so helpful. One of my critique partners hasn't read a full draft of mine yet, but the other one has read 2 drafts of the same novel. So she understands Ember Dragon Daughter just as much as I do, and sometimes she comes up with better ideas than me, which is like amazing, and also like, why didn't I think of that? So she's been so helpful to me, and being able to bounce ideas off of someone that already knows the spoilers, and where'd I get this scratch from, is so great. Critique partners have helped me so much too. I'm so happy to hear yours have helped. Haha, that's amazing. Yeah, definitely. they come up with so many great ideas, and I'm like, why didn't I get to there? Especially, I need to do a lot more brainstorming for the potential sequels of Ember Dragon Daughter, because since I want to query literary agents by fall, then I need to know where the trilogy would go, and I only have kind of a vague idea, but I know that that's something that an agent would ask me. Start a draft when you were really young, even though you're still going. I'm not sure if you mean, Kate, if when I started Ember or when I started writing in general. Writing, I'll just answer both. Writing in general, I've on and off done. Hi, poet. On and off, I've started writing. I don't even remember when I started writing. I did poetry a lot in middle school. That was kind of like my introduction to writing. I've had ideas for books all my life, but I never really pursued any of them. I would occasionally write a chapter here or there, and then I would like not touch it ever again. So I only became serious about writing and actually finishing drafts in 2014. November 2014 for NaNoWriMo, I wrote the first draft of a book called Juniper Collins and the Kind of Zombie Apocalypse. I on and off tried to write a second draft, and then I just shelved it. Then the next year, in 2015, I wrote the first draft of Haley the Imperfect Girl, which is a novel told in verse, and I definitely want to go back to that one later on. But it was a contemporary novel told in verse that addressed a lot of the different gender stereotypes in high schools and sexual identity, consent, things like that. So it was a pretty heavy-hitting poetry book. I do want to get back to that because I think that my perspective now, the past few years, just all the conversations that have happened in the world, I feel like I understand it better and I can make it even more powerful. So I do want to go back to that, but not right now because I want to start my career in fantasy. I wrote the first draft of Ember Dragon Daughter, and this I'll have on my new website as well, A Novel Told in Verse. A Novel Told in Verse is it's a book that's told in poetry. So it does follow a plot, but it's only revealed through poetry. So it could be like 80 to 100 poems that go through normal conflict and stakes and stuff like that, but only told through poetry, and it can still be first person or third person. If you want to read a good novel told in verse, I haven't read it yet, but there's a book that came out that's doing really well, and I have it on my wish list. It's called Blood, Water, Paint, and that looks really cool. But anyway, so Ember Dragon Daughter, I got the idea January 2016. I started writing it around March 2016, finished the first draft August of that year. Then I started the second draft in NaNoWriMo, so November 2016, and I finished it on Christmas. So it took me the whole year, and I did 2 drafts. I started draft 3 around February, and then I kept falling off and on because I wasn't really sure exactly where the story needed to go. So I took some time away from it, and then I readdressed plot problems, and that's why I'm making my writerly templates that I want to sell starting June 25th as a way to help organize a story Bible, so that you can kind of plot out all the ideas and all the characters and their growths and stuff in one notebook. So that's why I'm developing that. But so I started again in May with then draft 3.5. So so it's been a long time. I want to finish draft 4 and then look for literary agents. I'm nervous and excited, but I feel like it's time. I feel like this is my year that I have to do it. So it's the Ember Dragon Daughter is the only book that I've ever gone past the first draft. That was a lot of talking. I need food and water. And more creamer. I ran out of creamer. So that's a lot blacker than I like. Yes, definitely good things take time. Especially having critique partners, having people read draft 2 really helped me understand story structure better. And I feel like draft 3 is gonna kick ass. And there's scenes in my book that make me cry, and I'm just I can't wait to bring those emotions to other people. especially because there's a lot of foreshadowing and there's like these epic plot twists. There's 2 really big plot twists in my book, and based on my critique partner's feedback, I integrated them really well. So I'm like really excited because when they got to the end, they were like, holy shit, Rebecca. And I was like, yes. Like foreshadowing is my favorite thing. I know, foreshadowing plot tips is amazing. Yeah, I get story structure so much post CPs. Yeah. The first story structure is really hard to understand when you're doing your first drafts. Like if you're a newbie author, like understanding the flows of a story is really difficult when you're first starting. I definitely didn't have enough plot points at first, but now I think it's changed a lot, so I'm glad. Hi, Firestarter Jones. That's a really cool username. Is Ember Dragon Daughter meant as a solo book, or will it be a series? I intend for it to be a series. Technically, you could read just book 1 and be like, holy shit, that was a journey. But once you get to the plot twist, you'll be like, holy shit, there has to be, I'm sorry I'm cursing so much, but you'll be like, oh my god, there has to be another one. Like, when are you giving me the other one? So I want it to at least be a duology, but ideally a trilogy. So we'll see. It depends on what kind of deal I can negotiate. My best case scenario is if I can negotiate the trilogy, like, without even, like, giving them Ember Dragon Daughter as is after editing and stuff. If my literary agent can negotiate a trilogy for me, I would love that. Like, I would like to have that off the bat rather than pitching just the first book and then waiting for sales results, because I think that I need to get started on the sequels already, because the world's gonna get pretty big. Thank you, Carly. I might do some writing sprints later. I'm gonna try to do more reading too. Have a good Sunday. Strangely, it's refreshing to hear you swear. It makes you seem more real. That's really funny, Kate. I definitely do swear. It's really funny because my life coach, Manifestation Babe, Catherine Zinkina, she says that when she thinks about the ideal version of herself, she's like, you need to give your ideal version of yourself a name. And she says the name of my ideal me is Catherine fucking Zinkina. So she's like, Catherine fucking Zinkina. And I'm like, that's really hilarious. I think that's really awesome. I don't really, like, for me, Rebecca Kelsey Sampson is just who I am now and who I am forever. But I'm having, like, speaking of my name, I'm having trouble deciding because since, you knew me, Kate, as Rebecca Kelsey, and forever online, my online history is Rebecca Kelsey. But now that I'm pursuing my writer journey, I switched over to my full name, Rebecca Kelsey Sampson, and I changed all my usernames to be Rebecca K. Sampson. But now I don't know if my book should say by Rebecca Kelsey Sampson or by Rebecca K. Sampson, since all of my usernames are Rebecca K. Sampson. I'm having like a crisis deciding this. What book authors did you get into before grasping a better grasp in writing poetry? Honestly, that's something that I need to be better at. It's something that I think I can improve immensely on. I was mostly just going on gut feelings. Let me look up this book that I read, because when I had the idea of a novel told in verse, I went out and started researching other ones and which ones I should buy. Let me look up the name of that author. I read one where it was a fantasy about a girl whose boyfriend died and then the boyfriend haunted her. So the novel told in verse is about her being haunted by her dead boyfriend. What was it called? I can't believe I don't remember right now. Oh, it was, what was it? I love you, and then something. I haunt you, or God, I'm trying to remember. Let me just type ghost novel told in verse. But that's definitely something I need to improve on. That I have not. Oh, I can go to my Goodreads. That'll have it. Oh, it was I Heart You, You Haunt Me. That was it. I Heart You, You Haunt Me. Okay, let me see who's the author of that. Lisa Schroeder. Let me show you guys what it looks like. This is, hang on, it's trying to focus. There. I Heart You, You Haunt Me. And I think that it was really interesting. That it could have been better. I think it was a little bit more tell. I mean, it's a little bit difficult with show versus tell in terms of writing poetry versus, a novel. But working on it, I think that seeing that book helped me get a better idea of how to format the plot. But I definitely don't read enough poets. So if you have any suggestions on poets I should read, poetry in post, definitely let me know, because I would love to know your feedback. Kate, have you ever done public speaking, or do you speak in front of people a lot as your job? You seem very confident answering questions on the whim. That's something I developed with time, definitely. And Kate, you watched my YouTube channel, that I definitely was a lot less confident when I started. Hang on, let me write that down. Bukowski, that's what I have right now. Hang on, let me write down that name. Bukowski. Okay, thank you. I'll check that out. But yeah, so the more I filmed YouTube videos, the more confident I got talking. Even though I was talking to a camera, which is kind of funny. I was just talking to myself in a room, hoping that people would watch it later. So that helped me improve my confidence in talking. And then after that, I did do a speech once. Kate, do you remember when I was were you there when I was a Mark Cosmetics representative? When I used to sell makeup, they had a meet and greet in Miami once, and I had to do a speech about social media to Mark Cosmetics representatives, and that was very cool. I was a nervous wreck, and I didn't say any of my points. So I did have to do a public speech then. It was pretty bad. And then definitely going into a professional environment taught me to speak even better. I do have to give presentations at work, but not very frequently. But I do have to call a lot of people at work. I actually have to call general managers at different car dealerships and talk to them about their online reputation management. So I read all their reviews and I talk to them about their reviews. So that has helped me answer questions on the fly for sure, but it's mostly just been experience. I do want to, when my book gets published, I do want to do like school visits and like talk to kids about writing. And I have like this dream of being an honorary commencement speaker at my alma mater. So I think about talking out loud to people a lot. And I talk to myself a lot. When I'm in the car, this is like a visualization exercise that I do, but I imagine me at a book interview or me being interviewed at like BookCon, different writing conventions, and I imagine I like answer questions about my book and about my writing process out loud just to myself, but I imagine that I'm sitting in like an interview chair, and that helps too. So a lot of very strange things that I do talking to myself, so that's kind of funny. Kate, do you remember when you signed on? Because I have no idea when I signed on, and I think the live show might be running out of time soon. I think I started close to 11, so I might have like 15 minutes left. I'm not sure. Oh, man. I am tired. Do you have to talk a lot to strangers or people at work, or, well, you have the running club, Kate, so I imagine you talk to a lot of new people all the time. I would love to go back. There's a running club close by to my house that meets every Wednesday and does a 5K. I would love to get back into doing that, but I just don't have the time right now. But I would love to next year get back into more of a health habit. Because it used to be something. I used to exercise an hour a day. I used to have like abs, but definitely don't anymore. I have way too much like coffee and sweets for abs. Is that Jack? I'm not sure if he's waking up. He's been asleep for a long time, so I don't know. Hi, Bruna. How are you doing, Bruna? Aren't you supposed to be word sprinting? I'm late because I was sprinting. Exactly. I need to do some sprinting later too. Kate, I did a lot of public speaking in the Army, but not as much anymore unless you count talking to my kids. Well, the good thing about talking to your kids is you really have to learn how to simplify things from their perspective, because they don't understand like the complexities of everything. So you have to kind of reframe how you're speaking. How is your writing sprint, Bruna? How did it go? I did some writing sprints yesterday morning, and I'm very glad that I did, because otherwise I would not have written the whole rest of the day. It was horrible. The rest of the day was like really challenging. RunBet has helped me keep accountable with my running. Definitely. That's something that I try to do, is I try to tie my goals to other people, and that helps me achieve more of them. But sometimes it backfires, because I was supposed to read last month for a book club, You Are a Badass. It's an awesome book for what I did get through, but I had the whole month and I didn't finish it. So it turns out a lot of people didn't finish it, so the book club extended it to mid-June. But then my friend, you guys probably know her, but author Brittany Wang, she was going to read Zenith. And I was like, hey, I've been reading to read Zenith for a long time. Do you want to buddy read it? And she's like, sure. So now by like next week, I'm supposed to be on like chapter 20, and I definitely am not close to chapter 20. So sometimes it backfires if I don't have an extra incentive. But generally speaking, I tie a lot of my goals to other people, because then I have to worry about letting them down and not just myself. And then that makes me do more. But we'll see. Bruna, yeah, we did 30 minutes. Gonna have lunch talking with you guys and then back to sprinting. I'm sorry you've had a migraine again. That's horrible. I'm starting a new scene. I'll keep on sprinting in the afternoon. Awesome. Yeah, I'll write with you, Bruna, because I need to catch up on today. I need to do chapter 6 and part of 7, because I'm very behind on my writing deadline as well. Things have been a little tough this week. I'll totally be your long distance running buddy. That's awesome, Kate. Yeah, when I start running again, I'll definitely hit you up. Hi, Amber. Because I need some motivation. But also, like, I need to do yoga too. I don't know. I just need to, maybe once my website has launched and I'm like in between drafts and getting feedback, then I'll probably try to jump back into exercising more, because like I haven't been doing it, and I need to get my Writerly templates up. Bruna, I know I have to email you because I'm aiming to have, I have mixed feelings about reading it. That's really funny. Every time you say mixed feelings now, I just think of your book. Tell me what you think about Zenith when you're done. Definitely. I definitely will. I am so inflexible. Yeah, yoga definitely helps kind of loosen up the joints. But mostly it's just really good, like as almost like meditation. But anyway, Bruna, I need to email you about my Writerly templates. I'm hoping to have them done within the next 2 weeks. So I wanted to give everybody an updated timeline, so that you guys know when to expect it to beta test. But I'll let you know. I'm hoping in the next 2 weeks to have it done, so then I have like a week to make edits before it goes live. But yeah, I'm excited to read Zenith just because I'm a huge fan of Lindsay and Sasha, and I'm really excited to see how the series ends, since they're doing a duology and it looks like they're working really, really hard to edit. You know, obviously there's a lot of mixed reviews out about Zenith, but I'm trying to take it from like 2 different perspectives, because I'm a reader that follows their channel and really enjoys their work. And then I'm also a writer as well. So sometimes it's hard for me to turn off like that critical thinking, because since I write, I analyze how hi Audrey, I analyze how other people write while I'm reading it. So sometimes that takes me out of the story. So I'll need to see how that goes as I'm reading it, because as you guys have seen, it does have a lot of mixed reviews, but I'm still really excited to get into their world, especially because I know that they're working so hard on the sequel. And I'm sure that they've read most of the feedback that's been coming out. That's a really scary thing, is that unless you have beta readers and critique partners, you don't get feedback about your work until it's out there. like masses of feedback, and that can be both good and bad, which is why critique partners are so important, because you need to understand some of those problems before it hits the market. I love Lindsay AuthorTube. Yeah, Lindsay inspires me so much, and I'm so happy that she's having a baby. I'm just like, I just want more babies so much. I think I might have like 10 or 15 more minutes left in the live. I will see. What are you guys eating for lunch? Bruna, you said you're eating lunch. I'm hungry. I don't know what I want to eat. Thank you for the hearts. I really appreciate that. But yeah, so we'll see how things go. I had really wanted to be at like chapter 12 of my book by now, but I'm only on chapter 6. And I think I just need to like understand that I'm a slower writer and reviser than I think I am. Because it took me like 4 months to write the first draft, and then 2.5 months to do draft 2. And now it's taking like 4 months to do draft 3. I'm eating bread and hummus. My friend made it for me. I love bread and hummus. But yeah, so I'm trying to be nicer to myself and understand that I need more time. It's just, I have so many ideas that it's hard for me to give myself longer times to do things. Kate, I forget you're in Pacific Coast, right? So if it's almost 9, 10, 11. Yeah, or are you in Central Time? I'm horrible at those time zones. I didn't really eat enough for breakfast either, honestly. I'm a slow writer, but when I did, it took so much pressure from me. I'm glad, Bruna. I'm glad that helped you. I definitely need to understand that about myself. Because like I've told you guys, like my goal is always like a chapter a day. And I can never, ever get to a chapter a day. No matter how hard I try, a chapter a day is just really hard for me. It's more like 3 chapters a week, which to me feels like too slow. Like, I don't like it. Can you hear my cat? That was cute. I don't know what she's meowing about. So I'm trying to understand that I need like a week for 3 or 4 chapters. But I still need deadlines. Yeah, deadlines. How long are your chapters on average? They're anywhere from 8 to 15 pages. Yeah, the cat just walked by. I love my kitty, but she's very antisocial. She only talks to me and Chris, and a little bit to my mom. She doesn't talk to anybody else. She just hides. Most people don't know we have a cat. But yeah, my chapters are usually like 8 to 15 pages. They used to be too short, but now I feel like they're in a good medium. So I feel like a lot of people think that one scene is one chapter, and that's not true. Audrey, the amount of work each chapter needs varies so much for me. Yeah, I can definitely understand that. If you guys were following me a few months ago when I first started draft 3, I'm a little worried once I get past chapter 12, because I've already rewritten up to chapter 12 3 times. So that's why I consider myself part of 3.5 draft, because I got up to chapter 12 out of 42 chapters, and then I went back to the beginning and started again at chapter 1, because I felt like I just needed to fix it. I just needed to do more in those early chapters. But like chapter 3 took me like 8 hours, 12 hours. When I'm rewriting a complete chapter, it definitely can take a lot of time. So I'm a little nervous what'll happen once I get past chapter 12, because then those chapters are just from draft 2, and draft 2 was not that pretty. There's a lot to revise, I guess, because sometimes revisions turns out to be more than drafting. You have to rewrite sometimes, add scenes. Yes. We don't have daylight savings time here, so we are in California time right now. Awesome. I would love to not have daylight savings time. I would just like to just have the same time all the time. I really find daylight savings time annoying, and I don't think it really applies as much to our current society. Like, I get how it was interesting in the past. Bye, Kate. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciated talking with you. But yeah, daylight savings time is a little annoying. On my chapters, all my chapters have a lot of scenes, having trouble dividing all the scenes into chapters. Yeah, I think it just depends on what is the hook for each chapter. The YouTuber Katie Tastic, she's a writer, and she had a few videos about chapters and how each chapter should have like a conflict and a resolution, or something that leads into the resolution to be addressed in the next chapter, and then another conflict comes up. Daylight savings time is the worst. I've written my Congress people about how much I hate it. That's hilarious, Audrey. Go you. That's awesome. I'm really glad you took that initiative. That's definitely being a little bit more involved in politics is something that the ideal me does. So, Bruna, Audrey, what are you guys working on for the week? Bruna, sometimes I write something and I know that will be the resolution. I'm thinking about dividing mine, starting one with feeling and ending with another. That's interesting, since your book is about feelings. Yeah, you could definitely approach it like a multiple point of view kind of thing, where once a new feeling hits, it's a new chapter. That would be an easy way to break things up, like this chapter is about anger, this chapter is about happiness, things like that. I think that's a good idea. And then it's easy to get in the mindset of the different feelings. But I'm leaving this to revisions. Yes. Whatever will get you to write the story right now is what you need to do. The first draft is just going to be messy, and that's fine. My first draft was very messy. Oh yeah, I feel you, Audrey. Reworking the outline. Yeah, I definitely had to do that as well. Revisions are definitely a lot more taxing on my brain than I thought that they would be. Drafting I find a lot more fun because you're still exploring. And then revisions, while they're necessary and make your book a million times better, it just grabs my soul. It's just a little painful. So, but we'll see. I'm really excited with where Ember is going so far. I really think that it's going to be an awesome book. I have so much faith in it. It's just getting there is oh my God, it's hard. Yeah, some people, Bruna, Writer's Journey, they definitely do prefer revisions. Like Alexa Dunn on YouTube, she said that she likes revisions and editing more than drafting. I'm definitely the opposite. End of June for this. Yeah. How do you feel about your end of June deadline? Are you on track so far? I'm definitely a little behind. I'd like to be done at the end of June as well. I'm a little bit behind, but I can catch up, I'm sure. I'm very interested to see how it's going to be when I'm on deadline for my book. I don't know what kind of deadline they're going to give me or if I'm going to need to push back on it. But we'll see. My life will be completely different by the time I have my book deal. It's okay if you're a little behind. Like Audrey was saying, some chapters need more than others. So some will come super easy to you and others will just be longer. And that's just how it is. This is my to-do list for the rest of the day. It's pretty long. Yeah, it's going to be very different, totally. Let me look at this. This is a workbook that I'm working on for a class that I'm taking with Manifestation Babe. And one of the questions that I thought you guys would find really interesting is if you had a genie that could grant your every wish, what would you wish for? There's no stipulations. You have unlimited wishes. Tell me what you would wish for. I'm still working on mine, but what I wrote down was, book deal, #1 New York Times bestseller, a beautiful brick home, because I really want a bigger house that has 4 bedrooms, a place for a den that's upstairs and downstairs, has a garage, but I want the outside to be brick. There's a lot of really pretty brick homes here. I'm sure they're fake brick. I'm sure it's just like a concrete house with like a brick finish on top of it. But I think they're really beautiful, and I have my eyes on one of them that I'd like to be doing that in a few years. Are you using the reward system? I'm starting and I'm loving it. I do. I did make that after seeing Carly's journal, but the thing is that I have it set up that every 4 chapters I get a reward, and it takes me a while to do 4 chapters. Let me see. Where did it go? Here it is. So this is it. Yellow means that I finished the revision, and then pink means that I sent it to my critique partner. So I'm on chapter 6 right now. So every 4 chapters, I'm giving myself a reward. So I'd like to do, hang on a second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I do 4 chapters a week, then it's going to take me 2 more months. So that really annoys me. That's the problem that I have, is thinking about timing really annoys me. I want it to take a month, not 2 months, but I can only do so much. Yeah, book deal, going to BookCon. Yes, I would love to go to BookCon. Family, husband, children, ooh, with a library in my office to write. Exactly, yes. I want like a room of books. Yeah, and I put down here baby number 2 is one of them. Being full-time with my writing, having a personal inspiring office, a healthy family, having a successful, like, kind of like I put down author coaching business, but I wouldn't be like one-on-one coaching other than like on these lives where like I know we talk a lot about our goals, but you know, like selling ebooks and worksheets and stuff that have to do with mindset, having like a podcast and a website. So all the things that I'm slowly working towards, it's just taking a while. But I don't know, like what other things do I want? I want to have 2 cars. Right now I only have 1, and that makes it a little difficult for when Chris is by himself. Oh, thank you. Yeah, pretty much like wanted the same things for a while, but now I'm actually putting action into making them happen, which is what's making me feel so inspired. If you guys have time to rewatch the beginning of the live show later, I got into like super weird tangents about body imaging. I got into weird tangents about body image and how you look at yourself versus how other people look at you, and things that have to do with like kind of like thinking about body dysmorphia but as goal dysmorphia, like just judging yourself very harshly, and I'm like trying to work through that, so that's kind of funny. I hate cars, but sometimes they are necessary. Oh, I only have 2 minutes left. Okay, so I'm gonna have to like hang up in a minute because I'm afraid of driving. Bruna, send me a DM about that if you want. I was actually really scared of driving, and the only way I got over it is by actually driving. But for years I was scared of driving because my driving instructor in high school would yell at me. So anytime I got in the car, I would flash back to him yelling at me, so I would hear people yelling at me while I was driving. I eventually got over that, but it did take me like 2 years. But anyway, so it says that I have 1 minute and 30 left, so I'm gonna let you guys go. Bruna, I'm gonna do some writing sprints with you because I really need to, and we can kick butt. We're gonna reach all of our goals, and we're gonna do it in the timing that works best for us, and we just can't rush it because what's gonna happen for our dreams has to happen in a certain order. We just don't know what that order is yet because it hasn't happened yet. So we will work on it, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys so much for watching. If any of you have any questions or want to chat about anything, send me a DM. And if you aren't on my Happy Right Now mailing list, send me your email address in my inbox, and I'll get you on that list so you can find out about the launch of my website before it goes live. So I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.